for me personally, I think I've finally cracked the code on the best base routine that's gonna last. If you're looking for a good base routine because you have prom or a wedding or a concert or a special event, or just you want a base routine where your makeup's gonna last, you're gonna wanna watch this one. Okay, you might be asking yourself, Girly Pop, what are your credentials to be giving me a base routine that's gonna last? You're not a makeup artist. No, I'm not. I am just a girly pop who loves to play with makeup, and every time I have a special event going on, whether it's a wedding or a concert or a party or just a night out, I'm testing my makeup and seeing what's gonna make it last. I've always had oily skin, so for me to have foundation last an entire day is like a huge accomplishment, because I remember, you know, like 10 years ago when I'm putting on foundation, it's broken up within a few hours, and I've learned a couple tricks. Are they all mine? No. A lot of this is different tips and tricks from different people who do makeup on the internet. I liked their tips, they worked for me, so I kept them, added them to my collection. Those people will be credited in the description box below. If you want my actual credentials, I will insert photos on the screen. This is me after a friend's wedding, after, mind you. Now the foundation did oxidize a little bit, so that's why it doesn't match my chest completely, and also it was like hot, so my chest was red and my face was not. But anyway, that's me after a wedding. I danced, I drank, I ate. I thought the makeup stayed on pretty good, but the most important one, and the one that prompted me to film this video, this is me at the end of the day. I went to a rock concert. I had this makeup on for 14 hours. We got there early because we had VIP tickets. I touched up once. It was like an hour and a half drive to get there. I touched up in the car when we got there, and then I didn't touch up after. We were in the pit, we were jumping around, we were headbanging. So for my makeup to still be on at the end of the night and not entirely melted off, I thought that was an accomplishment. What a good time. So last, let's continue with a base routine that is gonna last. At least it lasts for me, so I hope it lasts for you too. So first things first, I've already got my skin prepped. I'm gonna list all my skin prep down below. Skin prep is more important than you would think, and if you're not gonna prep your skin, at a very minimum, I would use moisturizer just to get everything hydrated. And since my skin is already prepped, I'm gonna go in with a primer. I like using the Huda Beauty Easy Blur primer. This is one of a few primers that I like to use. I'm taking just like a pea-sized amount, and I'm gonna put that pretty much all over my face. I would say only in the center, but like that's a fucking lie, so. And because I wear my bangs down, I'm not really gonna do a lot to my forehead. Like any excess, I'll go ahead and put on there, but I'm not gonna do anything crazy. So while that dries down, I should let you know, I have naturally oily skin. I do get textured and dry areas, but most of the time my skin is oily. So this routine is going to be catered towards people with more oily skin. And again, what works for me may not work for you, and that's okay. I'm just sharing what I found that works for me. My primer feels like it's kind of set down. I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Superstay Skin Tint. This stuff is amazing. I have no words. It's a skin tint, but it has really good coverage and it dries down, which is a plus. I would recommend, if you use this, shake it up, because if you let it sit for a while, it does kind of like oxidize and the color looks darker. So before you use it, every time I would shake it up really, really well. This is something I've been trying. Once I have a little bit on, I just start rubbing that in with my finger, because that kind of helps get it spread out and started. Because I like to use a brush for foundation, but I've been having issues where I get the foundation caked in one part of the brush, and then the brush just like is leaving textured marks all over my face after that. So not a fan. And then I'm gonna take my foundation brush and beat it in. And you do not have to use the same products that I am using. These are just products that I tend to reach for repeatedly, that I know work well together. Once your foundation of choice is laid, we're going in with concealer. My concealer of choice today is gonna be the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. This stuff is pretty good, and it's like reasonably priced. I'm gonna go in with concealer 2 different times, not quite the same way. I'm just placing this around higher points on my face. I'm gonna put it in between my eyebrows too, because I need more coverage there. A little stripe down the nose, because I like to do that. I always get really dark on the sides of my nose, so we're gonna try to cover that up too. And again, I'm using a brush to go in and blend out concealer. Some people prefer a sponge, and sometimes I do too. It's whatever tool you choose to blend it out with. If you use a brush, just light patting motions. You don't want to swipe because that's going to move your foundation because it's still wet. And you don't want to like beat it in there because then you're also going to get texture that way. And if you get areas of texture where you realize you pressed down too hard, just lightly tap over it and it should go away. Because your products are still wet, so you should be able to manipulate them still. So once foundation and concealer are down, we're gonna go in with a liquid contour or a cream contour. I recently reorganized my makeup drawers, so I have no idea what's where. Recently, I've been jamming on the Haus Labs cream contour. This stuff, it blends like fucking butter, my guy. It's so good. So I'm in the shade Chisel. I'm gonna take this and just go where I would normally contour. Hollows of the cheeks. We're gonna go down the sides of the nose, maybe under my lip, probably up here, around my temple. I'm not gonna worry about the forehead because again, my bangs are gonna be down when we're done. Oh, and then don't forget the jawline. And again, when you blend this, whether you use a brush or a sponge, tapping motions only. I'm going in with a brush, shocker. Just really, I mean, the key is really just take your time with it and blend it. And with contour, try not to drag it down, try more to drag it up. Dragging it like down this way is gonna make your face look more muddy, and we wanna be snatched, not muddy. Yeah, when I did my makeup for this concert I went to 2 days ago, I was very pleasantly surprised to get home, and by the time I got home, came in my makeup room to take a photo and maybe like some video footage, that it was still in place as decent as it was. I mean, obviously makeup is gonna break down over time, but that's probably one of the better makeup applications I've had that I've been able to make last, which is amazing. I would say you can drag it in a little bit, try not to go down, in and up. That's gonna lift your face. If you prefer a smaller brush for the nose, do it. I'm not going to. That's another brush to wash. Now that we've got cream contour laid, I'm gonna go in with cream blush. For this, I'm gonna use the Curve Case from Made by Mitchell. I like this because you get a lot of options. So I have been using this for liquid contour for quite a while, but I really wanted to try those Haus Labs sticks and they are so good. We're gonna go in with this like a dark orangey shade. It's called Snatchural. So for this, I'm getting some on my brush and then we're going to even it out on the back of my hand because it is so easy to get blush heavy and carried away, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to even it out and then apply it on the cheek. And you want to go for a more like up top, not so much a circle on like the apple. You want it to be the next layer of your contour essentially. And it's okay if you don't want to bring it all the way to your eye. I don't really like to do that for my face shape. That looks pretty good to me. So we'll take a little bit more that I've smoothed out on the back of my hand and do the same thing over here. I'm essentially just following what I did for my contour, but higher to make me look. You get what I'm saying? Okay, I don't really think we actually have to touch up with concealer. If I was going to touch up with concealer afterwards, usually it's on this outer corner of my eye. And sometimes I will draw a line from the corner of the mouth up through here, just to kind of clean up underneath the contour to make it look more sharp. But honestly, I don't really think it needs that. Now that all of my cream products are on, I am going to go in and re-blend the places where my concealer is. I'm almost 30, so I have some under eye lines where the concealer likes to crease, and then around my nose it creases too. So I like to touch up those areas, blend out the creases, and then we can set with powder. Another creator I follow, Aditya, I think that's his name. His concealer tips are fantastic. He always says if you get creasing, just take a Q-tip and wipe out the excess and then you can set it and you're fine. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I just reblend. But I will say with concealer, less is actually more because it goes quite a long way. Once your concealer's blended, all your cream products are on, we're gonna start with powder. Don't be afraid of powder. Even if you have lines, what I have learned is that powder is actually your friend when you know how to use it correctly. I'm gonna start with a loose powder. We're taking the L'Oreal Blurfection Infallible. This is the pink one. And I'm gonna take this on a fluffy brush first. Another tip from Adi. Take it on a fluffy brush, lightly powder, and then we're gonna go in with a puff. So I am just like swirling this in my cup. I'm gonna tap off the excess. If you prefer, you can rub it on the back of your hand, make sure it's even. I'm just gonna tap off the excess and with the lightest hand, We're just tapping over the skin. Not swiping, not harshly. We are just tapping. And since I am an oily girl, I like to do this all over my face. Oh, shit. Don't forget to blend out the fucking contour under your lip. Whoops. So I'm just lightly going over my whole face. And then the foundation on my forehead really is just in case the wind blows and my bangs blow back. I don't want there to be a harsh line like right here where my makeup stops. But with bangs, I mean, I don't focus on going into my hairline or anything anymore. It just is what it is. Now we're going to use a puff on areas that, for me, break up faster. So that's gonna be under the eyes, around the nose, the mouth, and this part of my forehead. So for this part, I am picking up the powder in my tray. It's on the puff, correct. We're gonna even it out on the back of our hand because this is where things get cakey if you don't when you are pressing it in. Lightly with the brush, you're gonna be fine. When you're pressing it in with the puff, you need to even it out. So we're just gonna go under the eye very lightly. I'm gonna pick up more off the back of my hand. We're gonna go down that side of my nose. And then we're gonna do the same thing. Pick up more, even it out, do this side. This powder is fantastic though. I have no words, it's really good. We're gonna do probably my whole nose because, you know, my nose is usually the first to go. But as somebody with lines starting to form under their eyes, I personally notice a big difference if I start my powdering with a brush versus going straight in with a puff. It's made a huge difference for me because sometimes when I go straight in with a puff, it looks like I have fucking like crepe paper skin under my eyes. I hate that. Okay, now that we've got loose powder on, it's time to go in with powder products. So yes, even though my face looks pretty done up, we're gonna do all of that again with powder. So starting with powder bronzer, the Shade and Light palette has been my go-to for a long time. I would love to find something a little bit more cool toned because this is very like bronzy instead of contour, but that's fine. I'm actually gonna take this on like a fluffy brush, the same one we powdered with, so I can just lightly put it on there. Dip your brush. I tap off the excess because it'll be a lot if you don't, and just lightly put it in the same area as we contoured. Now, this tip is not mine. I feel like I've seen the most videos about layering your makeup from Shelby Ann on TikTok, and she is correct. If you layer and you do it correctly, your makeup should last longer. That is, if you're going to an event where you need it to last like all day, all night. I would say don't be afraid of putting more on. Next, we've got to do powder blush. This is new, but I want to try it. Again, you can use any kind of products you want. The key thing is layering and doing all these steps. This is Seraphine Botanicals blush. I got this in a BoxyCharm one month. The first one actually arrived shattered and they sent me a new one, so I've been wanting to try this. I just haven't. Like this week has been the first time I've sat down to do my makeup in months. And yeah, I need to remember personally have a light hand with blush because I tend to have a heavy hand. And then I look like a fucking clown. And I'm like, oh, how did that happen? But we're just placing this in the same place we put the liquid blush. And actually, I think this is a pretty good match. I'm also gonna put on powder highlighter. This is it's just a single one from Toy Factory. Also an Ipsy find. I'm just gonna put this on with my finger on the high points of my face. And if you don't like highlighter, well, just skip it. Me personally, I'm still living in an era where I'm trying to blind everybody with my fucking highlighter, so. To recap, so far, we've got our skin prep, primer, foundation, concealer, liquid contour or bronzer, whichever you prefer, liquid blush, loose powder, first on a brush, then on a puff, and then we've gone in with powder contour, powder blush, powder highlighter. Now that all this is on, I'm gonna use a setting spray. I personally am going in with it's the One Size Powder Melt Glass Setting Spray. One Size Powder Melt Glass Setting Spray. I just recently bought this and oh my god. Like, oh, well, you can't really see because of my lights, but my skin right now is just like powdered, matte. This is just gonna like blend everything in. I don't even know how to describe it. We're gonna let that dry. It just like melts everything together and kind of makes the two layers more into one. We're not done. We are not done. Because the very last thing you need that I personally think made the biggest difference for my makeup to still be on my face after 14 and a half hours and a metal concert is I used a puff and I put finishing powder on top of everything. So this is the NYX HD finishing powder in translucent, and I'm just gonna put this in places where it breaks down easily. Around my mouth, around my nose, under my eyes, and like that little T of my forehead. I pick up some, you can even it out on the back of your hand, and I just lightly, well, not lightly, it's actually kind of firm, press it in. And then you could honestly just let this sit while you do your eye makeup. And then once it's done, so it's kind of like a form of baking, but once it's done, you can take a clean fluffy brush, preferably, but I might just use this one that I use for everything. But you would just take a brush and, you know, if you have any spots where there's a lot, just lightly brush that excess off. I would douse yourself in another setting spray. It doesn't have to be the same one. For a topper, I would personally use, I got this Max Fix It Plus Stay Over for Max. I got this MAC Fix It Plus Stay Over. It's like a mini setting spray for Christmas. Or I love the L'Oreal Infallible. I have not tried the, what is it? The one size like all-nighter, like the big hairspray can, but I've heard a lot of people say this is a dupe, and this works fantastic and it's a good price. So me personally, that's what I would do. Douse yourself with another setting spray and then you should be good to go. So I would say the key to having a base that lasts is, number one, take your time. Make sure you have plenty of time to do all your blending, to make sure everything looks good. And number two, layer, and don't be afraid to layer and blend it out, because that is really what's gonna make your makeup last. And number three, do not be afraid of powder, even if you have lines, because if you use the powder correctly, your makeup should last you the whole night. And what has helped me the most is putting finishing powder on at the end. After I've done everything else, after I've done a first layer of setting spray, finishing powder, set it again. And if you need something to take with you to touch it up, take your finishing powder in a puff and touch it up, because that's what I did for this concert. But I only got to touch it up once because I put it on after everything was done and then we drove to the concert. So like an hour and a half later when we parked, I put on finishing powder, sprayed myself down, we got out of the car, we went. And what a night it was. So yeah, that is my tips on how to make your base makeup last. Let me go finish my eyes and I'll show you the finished look. Okay, so eyes are done, lips are done, makeup is done. Makeup is done. I am about to go out to dinner and it's about 6 p.m. right now. So when I come back, I'll give you an update on how the makeup is looking, and then we'll just kind of review and wrap everything up. But right now, yeah, you can kind of see how it's looking. Glowy and skin-like, but matte. And I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with how this makeup turned out. It's so, so good. So now it's 12:30. I've had this makeup on for 6.5 hours. So, and it's holding up really, really well. As an oily skin girly, I used to have a lot of issues with my nose breaking down first, and then it would be like right in here around my mouth and my chin. And my nose is starting to look a little bit shiny, and I've got a little bit of creasing like around the sides of my nose and underneath, but other than that, everything is holding up really well. So for me personally, I think I've finally cracked the code on the best base routine that's gonna last. As you can see, the lip gloss did not last, but it was lip gloss. So, well, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.